All righty. How we doing? Did I blow out everybody's ears yet? How we doing? Uh Fitting that I have my Xfinity shirt on and a Dale Jr. hat because Dale Earnhardt Jr. won today as a crew chief. I get that it was more in I get it was more in title only than anything else. Um I would think that that's probably, um, which by the way, I did change the Xfinity one if you refresh, but I get everyone didn't refresh. At least says that on my end. Whatever. Who cares? All right. Honestly, if I go and try and change it again, it's gonna end the stream. So y'all can get as pissed and bitch him out as much as you want. Uh, I have to admit, I never in a million years thought I was going to watch a race where Dale Earnhardt Jr. was the winning crew chief. Never thought that I would ever see that. Connor Zilic is the winning driver, by the way. He gets the victory with just a hell of a drive. And a hell of a finish. And I will say that I know the finish doesn't make everything for the race itself. I know a lot of people are kind of in the middle on it when it comes to this race. Some like it, some don't. I kind of think it was a decent race, all things considered. And I get that, I'm wearing Dale Jr. hat, but it was not because Dale Jr. won. It's just in general, I thought it was a decent race. I want to know, out of 10, what do you guys think of this race? Because I'm already seeing 4s in here. I'm seeing 7s. I'm seeing 5s. What do we got in here? Let's see. Brennan Poole with a 4. I don't know. That's how you're supposed to say 6-point pancakes, 8.8, totally unbiased Zillbilly here. 6. Ryan Sieg, 6, 8, mid, 5, 7, 6, fine. Pancakes, tons of pancakes. Should we just spam pancakes every time it has something to do with Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Because I feel like at this point, that's where we're going with it. But I love this. I literally just watch it refresh, hit the button, and it's a brand new comment. Y'all are awesome. But yeah, I mean, I honestly thought it was a decent enough race, probably like a 6 out of 10 kind of day. I didn't think it was an awful race. I think a lot of people might be biased because it's Pocono and stuff like that, but I thought it was decent. But Connor Zilic gets the win as I drop my pen and hit the mic, and I'm just all over the place today, man. Connor Zilic gets the win after 100 laps of the 2025 Explore the Pocono Mountains 250. He wins by 0.437 seconds, about 4.5 tenths of a second over Jesse Love. 100 laps, 10 cautions for 41 of those laps, 2 hours, 24 minutes, 35 seconds of runtime, 10 lead changes on the day. Of course, like I said, Zilic, 34 led, wins over Love, then Eckes. Elliott with the pole and the fastest lap. I thought I had the race fully in hand. Does not. He ends up coming home with a 4th place run. Ryan Sieg, a incredibly solid 5th place finish in this one. I love these pancakes, man. This is awesome. After that, you got Carson Quapple, solid 6th place run. Mayer in 7th. Then Sammy Smith, Gray, and Allgaier the top 10. After that, 11th, you've got Jeb, then Clements, Alfredo, Harrison Burton, and Josh Williams. Poole, Thompson, Brandon Jones, Matty D, and Mason Massey, the top 20. Williams Sawalich, 21st. I don't know what the hell that dude has to do to actually run well in JGR equipment, but the leash has to be getting shorter at this point, I think, unless the money is just that damn good. Parker Retzlaff with 22nd, Balicki, Honeyman, and Kyle Sieg, the top 25. Then Smithley, Logan Bearden, Nick Sanchez, Blaine Perkins, and Patrick Emmerling, the top 30. 31st, Danny Dye. And last on the lead lap is Ryan Ellis in 32nd. They got the points up there. I'm just going to take a quick picture of that so I can go over that right after we finish this. 1 lap down for Dawson Cram in 33rd. Then Carson Ware in 34th, 2 down, 5 down for the Austin Hill Machine. And the last 3 out of the race, Sheldon Creed, 36th, Chris Wright, 37th, and Justin Bonsignor in 38th. 8th. I will read the super chats, I promise, at the end of the show. And I will bring up, so we have still 6 winners. Connor Zilic, the only one with 2 wins on the year. Mayer, 7th plus 118. Carson Quapple plus 42 in 8th. Jeb Burton plus 24 in 9th. Then Sheldon Creed plus 20 in 10th. Ryan Sieg plus 18 in 11th. 12th for Taylor Gray, and he's plus 11. Minus 11, Harrison Burton, 13th. Minus 26, Sanchez. The rest are in must win. There are 10 races to go until the Xfinity Series playoffs. I still don't think that the Xfinity Series need playoffs, but whatever. But hey, this race, I think this race was very much what you expect out of kind of one of the more crazy POCONO deals. If you're looking at this the way that you would look at, say, Kansas or Daytona or Watkins Glen, some of these ones that have a lot more action to them, okay, I think you're going to be disappointed. I don't think that this was really that. And yeah, fair. You're right. They really don't all need them, but the lower series especially don't. But when it comes to Pocono standards, I thought it was a fun race. Take the Dale Jr. storyline out of it, right? Dale Jr., if let's say he's sitting at home in North Carolina on his comfy couch or on his back porch or whatever, wherever the hell he watches his races. Let's say he's there and he's not on top of the crew chief box. I still think it's a fun race. I still think the storyline of Zilic getting this win is a fun storyline. The fact that you had so many really good moments and contenders up there. Now, I think that it got a little too wreck-festy for me towards the end there. Thank God we at least didn't have to have an overtime finish added on to all of that. But I still thought that the battle between the 7, the 17, and the 88 was really fun. The 2 of Jesse Love put up a pretty damn good fight. And you saw that for a lot of the day, a kind of a revolving door of maybe the same leaders, but still a pretty good fight between them. I think Elliott far and away had the best car. The 17 was the best out there today. Might not have been at the best at every single moment, but in total, that I'm expecting a Cup champion and a Hendrick Motorsports driver and car to be that good. And he delivered on that. But Connor Zilic, man, I mean, I think the dude's a real deal. I keep saying it each week, and a lot of people are like, well, he needs to win on something that's not a road course, or he needs to, compete up front in more normal NASCAR races. Well, there you go. Like, this is him competing up front in these normal races that people are asking for. It's kind of like Ethan White says here. Like, I don't know what Zilic did after the Talladega accident, but it might have unlocked his full potential. It might not have even been the full potential. Just like, maybe it just puts it in perspective. I don't know. I don't know what an injury like that will do to a driver. But either way, he's been, I think he's been living up to the expectations. Looking at the race in general, you had a bit of a start and end the same way with wrecks and cautions and all of that. I'm looking at the final stage, and it's just caution, restart, caution, restart, caution, restart, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it kind of was the same thing to start with. The spin by Danny Dye right at the start. The 07 in the wall. You had another wreck, or you had an engine blow up, I think, with Bonsignor. All of that. And trust me, we'll get to the Dale Jr. part. I do want to talk about the Dale Jr. part. I want to talk about what Kyle Busch said about Dale Earnhardt Jr. being on the box today, because I think it went out and was heard the wrong way. And I don't think Kyle's wrong. But it's really fun. We had a brief rekindling of the fan bases hating each other again, and it's really damn funny to me, and I absolutely love it. But the first stage, I mean, it was kind of like a more exciting, more action-packed version of yesterday when it came to the first stage and the second stage too, where you did have crashes. Like, for instance, started the second stage, you had a crash with the 20, the 21, the 10, the 18. I think the 26 might have been involved too. 20 just got loose. Like, you had that incident there. You had the crashes in the first stage. You had the pit strategy and the flipping with the 7, the 54, and the 2, and the 17 in the first stage, among others. The 00 getting the wall. Sheldon Creed, just an awful day. Dude just if he can't catch a break, he breaks it on his own. I guess is the best way I can put it. Um, and you had that kind of you had the back and forth of green and yellow short runs throughout. The first stage went to Jones, with some solid stage points for others like Sanchez, Zilich, Sieg, Eckes. Second one went to Zilich. And again, solid ones for Sanchez in third in that stage, Eckes in fifth. Ryan Sieg had a great day. One of the best points days he's had. And I know that it's, not the it thing to say points day anymore, but good on Ryan Sieg with that. But all the action, really, all that we're going to actually talk about is in that final stage. And it's really in the last 43 laps or so. The early part of that run, because of the way that it was flipped, Zilich would have the early lead. He'd pull out really far ahead after a restart with Love. But the 17 and the 7 were definitely faster. Better tires, better cars. And in that moment, I would say they were definitely better cars. Run him down. I think Elliott ran him down from like 2 seconds back in like 5 laps. The 17 was on rails at that point. So Zilich pits with 32 to go. And 2 laps later, Garrett Smithley spins, brings out the caution. I think that in large part is what helped Zilich get this win. Because if this thing goes green and it gets strung out in strategies, I don't know if he beats the 17 regardless of the pit splits that they do. So I think it was that spin with Garrett Smithley, in my opinion. I think that was really what did it for the 88 today. But you know what? Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you're fast, sometimes you get it both. That's racing. That's NASCAR for you. So with 25 to go, he restarts again with the 2 right there. Gets a good push, with the 2 does. Chase, though, clears them both, and then a caution comes out. 17 to go, get it back restarted, another wreck, 48 and 00, get it back going again. And it was funny because that one was the one where Zilich tried staying on the bottom, stayed with the 17, was on second. Next time by, it goes and restarts, I believe, behind the 17. Trying to learn from different things. But the big part, and this is the fun part of the end of this race. The end of this race was wacky and wild and fun. It doesn't matter if it's Pocono, doesn't matter if it's Daytona, doesn't matter if it's Atlanta, Lime Rock, don't matter what track it is. Like the end of this race and how it went was fun, even if it was a little sloppy. And so with 13 to go, the 17 and the 7 are on the front row. Love goes 3 wide, but doesn't really have the position to do it. But the 7 gets loose, gets like a little overshoots it into the corner, kind of gets up into the 17. They both lose a ton of spots. Love and Eckes get by. Zilich is in third. The 17 and the 7 are outside of the top 10 at this point. So even with a caution with 11 to go from Kyle Sieg, they get it back going with 6 to go. It's not enough time for them to run it back. The 2 and the 16 restart. 2 gets the push with the 88 clearing into second. And that, I think, is the other part. Once the luck is in there, Zilich was able to deliver on the restart, stay with Jesse Love. He's there with 5 to go. With 4 to go, he's passing him, and he was off to the races. And I got to say, like each week, I feel like we see Connor Zilich get better and better and better. Each week, I feel like he's becoming more of a complete stock car racing driver. We just needed a win like this, right? We just needed a win on a track that wasn't turning left and right. Just left, I guess. That was a big litmus test people were putting him under. And I get the next one's probably going to be he needs a 1.5 mile win or a short track win because the bar always changes with that stuff with really young drivers, and people are going to say that. To me, this is freaking impressive. Pocono is a driver's racetrack as well as a team racetrack when it comes to horsepower, when it comes to the strategy calls, when it comes to all that. But it's an incredibly difficult track, in my opinion, for drivers to win on. And especially with the driving part of it, say what you want. That was an impressive win. The Dale Earnhardt Jr. side of it, because I know everyone wants to talk about Dale Jr. getting a win as a crew chief. It's a big deal. It's good in the stat board. Earlier Kyle Busch was quoted, and it kind of went a little semi-viral on the old X machine. that he had, the quote of him saying the Dale Jr. is kind of like a warm body in a seat up there. And he was more ripping on the protocols they have for crew chief penalties and all of that. Now, crew chiefs can just at the minute, text, call, whatever. There's so many. You can have the onboard of the driver at home. You can have telemetry. You can have the raw data, all of that stuff. Like, you basically can everything you have at the track at the same moment, just in your living room. I think the only barrier is you probably just would have to be texting somebody, which I'm assuming he's probably texting the car chief. Like, don't get me wrong. In my opinion, Junior being up there, yeah, it was a fun thing. And I do think he was a part of the team and helping with it. Like, this is not to take away from him. I think we can acknowledge a little bit that it was kind of a fun PR deal too. I wouldn't even go as far as say a full-on stunt, because I do think that Dale Jr. had an added part to this win, to this team. But I think we can acknowledge that, like, I don't think Junior was making the same calls that, a regular crew chief would make. I think he was getting a lot of help, and he said that. And I know people say, well, it's because Junior's humble, and I think that's the case too. But I think that this was a full team effort with the 88 team today. Rallying around Zilich, rallying around Dale Jr. being up there. I think, listen, I still think he did more than a lot of people are going to say. A lot of people are going to be hating on him and hating on this winner and be like, oh, Dale Jr. just was up there just, shooting the shit and telling him not to speed and basic stuff. But, he still had a lot of responsibility that a normal member of the crew chief would have, all of that. So I hope I'm not like trying to take away from this, because I think it's really impressive and really cool that the 88 team, Connor Zilich, in an interesting situation like this with somebody who has no crew chiefing experience at this level. I don't care if it's Dale Jr. Having it basically be a rookie crew chief who is leaning on the rest of the team, as Junior himself had said, that's mighty impressive. And I think it's impressive too that he's able to jump up there and he is able to add into that. I think he's going to be on a really, really good list. I think Seth Eggert had a good list on the old social medias about like what kind of list of drivers Dale Earnhardt, or not drivers, crew chiefs and owners that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to be joining. It's a staggeringly great list. Here's the list, right? The list. So it's drivers that have one as a crew chief, one as a driver, one as an owner. That's a hell of a list, man. Looking at it. So on the Cup side, you got Junior Johnson, Lee Petty, Cotton Owens, Wendell Scott, and James Hilton. That's a pretty damn good name. A list of names right there. You got one in the trucks, Bob Keselowski. And then there's two that were initially already on the Xfinity list, Sam Ard and Ronnie Silver. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is now the 9th guy to join that list in NASCAR history. Not the modern era of NASCAR history, modern history. That's an elite list of owners, drivers, and crew chiefs with this. I mean, the crew chiefs, the winningest of those crew chiefs was James Hilton, by the way, at 13 in Cup, then Lee Petty at 10 in Cup. The rest have 4 or less. Driver-wise, Dale Earnhardt Jr., when he comes to the series he was crew chiefing in, has the 3rd most wins as a driver in any of those series. When you add in his Cup tenured list, he's tied with Junior Johnson for 2nd in NASCAR wins on that list. I know that's, stretching it a little bit. I understand that. When you look at wins as an owner, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 3rd, only Lee Petty and Junior Johnson. This is now the 111th win for Dale Jr. as an owner. I mean, that it's a hell of a list. And I don't care what the circumstances are. And again, maybe this is my Dale Jr. bias. I fully acknowledge my bias on this. That's something you need to add to the plaque in the Hall of Fame, man. That's a hell of a list. That should be a Hall of Fame exhibit. The NASCAR Hall of Fame should have an exhibit like that, where they have these 9 drivers and owners and crew chiefs, as they're now all going to be seen as, all of these guys should be an exhibit about specific races, about the way that it happened, about when it happened. God, you're looking at this list and the old names on it, and you have to think, like, when was the last time one of these guys won as a crew chief? Like, when's the last time that somebody was added to this list? It's a valid question, you know. Now we just need him to win, like, as a spotter if he hasn't already. It's a hell of a list. It's an absolute hell of a list, and it makes me happy as a junior fan that I get to brag on my favorite guy that I've been a fan of since I was a 7-year-old. It makes me happy I get to brag on him, even if the context is a little, iffy, wishy-washy. No one's going to look at that when they look at the box score in a couple of years. To me, this is one of the coolest stories that we've seen in a while. So I'm just saying, I mean, hey, 1 for 1, Dale Jr., just saying. I'm just saying, man, it's pretty damn cool. Yeah. Dale Jr. be the Jack Man next week. Let's see. What else can you do? Yes. Let's see. Is Busch the only beer sponsor cup now? It's suppressing. I think so. Not sure. I love that, like, when I click different things, different comments pop up, so I answer questions anyway. Let's see. What else we got here? Yeah, he has spotted before. Yeah, Dale Jr. Jackman. How about that? I don't know if we keep track of spotter wins or anything like that. It's just something that's fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. That was definitely the thing that was going to make it up. And you could tell, and just like last week, like, I saw so many people in my comments afterwards and in my chat after the Mexico race who were like, man, this is BS. NASCAR's fixing this for Daniel Suarez to win and yada, yada, yada. And just, no, that wasn't what happened. And I see, like, there's going to be people, I know there will be, who are going to be like, man, NASCAR set this up, and the TV networks and all that set it up so Junior could win. No, they did not. Right? Like, if I thought it was fixed, I'd be saying I thought it was fixed. Like, I think I've earned enough from you guys that you'd know that I would be 100% calling out BS if there was real BS on it. I don't see that case. By the way, you know what's cool about this time of year is I can actually on air edit the points graphic, and I can actually put the points down on the bottom now too. That was something I actually wasn't able to do with the old OBS system. So if you guys give me a moment, I can actually put on the ticker below, I can actually give you guys the current playoff standings on the bottom. And that way, and we can just do this every week for, probably can't do it for Cup just because there's so many that are in contention, so many things to edit and all that. It would be a pain in the ass, and you guys would probably get annoyed by me with it. But now if you want, I can make this a thing with Xfinity and trucks, especially, and probably once the playoffs start, I can do it with the Cup guys, where I can just give you guys the point standings as it goes each week. And we can all be on the same page. So if somebody came in late or they missed the race or something like that, y'all don't have to go online or anything like that. You can at least see where they're at as long as they're officially put out there. And there's no, obviously, this isn't, like after inspections done or anything. But yeah, how about we do that? Is that cool with y'all? Like, let me know in the comments if that's cool with you. We can. I get it. It's something that if I had better stuff, I'd be able to do quicker, and we can work on that. But yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So tomorrow, and this thing, now I have to actually edit everything. Tomorrow we'll do the Cup post race, and we won't have this. So this will be fun for you guys that come in for these ones. So there you go. There's the points on the bottom. Enjoy. I probably spelled somebody's name wrong, so y'all let me know. There you go. Yeah. Figure it's something cool to do, something to kind of keep the lower series ones before the Cup playoffs start as something fun and unique. That's right, Spencer. That's right. This is fun.
This is fun. We're having fun.
I love that I have that damn sounder now. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a decent enough race. 6 out of 10. You know, I thought it was a little too sloppy towards the end. First half into that sloppiness was a typical Pocono race with some pretty good moments. But all things considered, I think generally I have more positives than negatives about this race. Yes, we will get the Dolphin sounder. We will get the Dolphin sounder this week at some point. I got to find the right one that's not copyrighted. Because I test the sounders on private streams. So like I tested the Law and Order one and it got like copyright wrote hit. Which doesn't mean that it's like taken down right away, but I know that a lot of those big networks are very protective of their rights. Let's look at the super chats to finish on off today. We got one that was right before the stream from Chris McIntyre for the 5, who said, Iceberg, you must remember the Chuck Norris facts, right? Well, here's one. Chris Wright can wreck and turn 4 at Pocono. Oh man, he very much could. He very much could. Hope Lil Berg is doing well. Lil Berg is doing well. She is happy. She has her dad's appetite, and it's good. It's good so far. She's gonna be a month old tomorrow. Holy crap! Damn, I've been a dad for a month now. You're literally gonna see me I get like on air, just have these moments where I'm like, holy shit. But thank you. I appreciate the comment and asking. Andrew Winslow says, I love the Xfinity Series for a 26-month member chat. I love the Xfinity Series too. Yeah, 1 month. Oh, it's awesome, man. It's cool. It's unlike anything else. I would say what it's like, but I cannot put words to it. As cliched as that sounds. Sly Supersonic for the 263 says 5 out of 10. Still good job, Connor Zilich and Dale Jr. Yep. Napa Racing Fan 927 for the 5. Zilich's first triangle win. Dale Jr.'s first crew chief win. Time for pancakes as Zilich IHOPs over to victory lane. Great finish, messy race. Yeah, and that's about great finish, messy race is the best way that I could probably put it. Oh, and then there's me, all the headshots. I appreciate it. Cavs fan 45 for the 2 says, I've seen enough. Switch Wall and Alan Gustafson. I know that's the part that a lot of people have been theorizing this week. That'd be a fun poll. Since Chase Elliott was in the race, we can probably do that. Yes or no? Should Elliott get a new crew chief in 2026? Let me know. By the way, NWP is on my channel this week, so that's why we don't have like the parentheses on it. Fred Dog for the 2 says Junior can do it all except run well on road courses. I mean, he did win a road course in the Xfinity Series. I believe he beat Ron Fellows in that. And one of his final top 10s was actually at Sonoma. Interesting fact. He almost got a top 5 in his last start there. Like he was never going to be a winning driver at road courses in the Cup Series, but fun fact, Dale Jr. was actually quite consistent from about 2013 or so on at road courses. And the finishes he didn't get that weren't in the top 10, he usually was running like in the top 10 to 15 in those races. I know, hang the banner, top 15, but if you watch Dale Jr. like I did in the early and mid 2000s, like that was an accomplishment. Finished 3rd in 2014 at Sonoma, got top 10s at the Glen a lot. Probably should have won the 2008 race at the Glen. I was actually just watching that the other day, and that was a race that was well on its way to going caution free, and Junior had the edge on Kyle Busch before they took a different pit strategy. The caution came out and kind of screwed him on it. If that would have went caution free, I think he wins, and that would have meant he would have won the last 2 caution free NASCAR Cup races, which is insane to think. I think he finished like 23rd. He was stuck in the pack. COT kind of sucked back then. Like 2008, COT was not very good. But yeah. And Junior swept in 2014. Yeah, he swept the Pocono races. It was awesome. Andrew Winslow with the 2. All I got from this race is the Wi-Fi is booming. Yes, it is. Apparently it is. It's funny though, because if you have Xfinity, it's not. No, it's not booming on Xfinity. Michael Kelly Gilliam, thank you for the 10 and then 11th gifted memberships on the channel. I appreciate it a ton. I'm sure those 11 people appreciate it as well. It's probably why my face was getting spammed. Awesome. I appreciate it. We do so much streaming that and the thing is that, you know, as long as it's as decent as I think it'll be, I think it'll be good. We'll probably do even more streaming in the fall with NASCAR 25 coming out. Just throwing that out there. I got to actually get whatever platform I'm going to be streaming it on, whether that's on PC or PS5. But yeah, kind of a thing to tell you about for like October, November, December. Maybe I'll do a little bit more of those. Maybe I'll get like Eric and Danny to jump on there with me, and we can see which one of us sucks the least. Because I don't think any of us will be really that good, but maybe we'll have some fun with that. Figured I'd let you know that though in advance. Fred Dog 81 says, I love the CW's work on Xfinity race presentation, but saying no more commercials to the end and then going to commercial after the last caution. Oof. So I think it was the way that like back in the day, Turner Sports and NBC and like that group of people would make it work, is that like, you know, if it's green, we don't go to commercial. I think I blame that more on, I think Adam Alexander said that wrong. I do love what the CW is doing. I would give them a solid B+ on the year. I think some of the cracks have started to show, and I think Prime probably would have been the same way. If Prime went past this week, we'd probably see some more cracks in the armor, chinks in the armor, and all of that. You know, and holes in it and everything like that. But I think with the CW, you got every single week, you got to have new people coming in and out. Ryan Blaney this week, you know, you have like, you know, Cindric or Brad Keselowski or whatever. You know, I think that you're going to see more of it out of them, but I still give a solid like B+ so far this year. I've loved what they're doing. I love it more than what we've seen out of Fox. I think it's slightly better than NBC. I think what this year has shown with Prime and CW is that NBC is actually probably a B level broadcast, that because it was only compared to Fox before, we gave an A level. But yeah, I do think that even if it is a caution at the end, unless it's like a ton of them, but you know, even if there's a ton, if you're going to say caution free at the end, one, make sure that's exactly what it means, but two, follow through with it. Follow through. But I agree. Get McMurray back in the booth, you know, more often. Don't stop breaking up the trio. That was the big problem that in my opinion, Fox and NBC did, is they kept breaking up what freaking worked. Don't do that. Like, keep the band together. Okay, you know what? It's like, oh, I want to do other racing things. Well, this is your full-time gig now, right? This is what you're supposed to be doing each week. So I say, CW, put your foot down, man. Put your foot down. Make them be all up there, because they're damn good together as a trio. Blaney was fun. He was good enough today. But I want the main trio in there every week, because they're great. I absolutely love it. What we saw at Daytona, I think, was A+, outside of a few issues here and there. And I think, again, you know, the Detroit area especially, but other areas like that kind of getting screwed, that needs to be fixed. That's why I can't put it in A just yet, because there's still some major problems that need to get fixed on the broadcasting side. But, you know, just don't mess with what works, right? That's what Fox did, and look where it got us. Michael Kelly Gilliam, another gifted membership. Thank you. So that's 12, I believe, on the night. I appreciate it. And Race Hell Praise Dale for the 5 says, Zilich obviously has a lot of talent and will be successful in the sport, but I hope they don't rush him to Cup. Same goes for others in Xfinity. I hope the same thing. You know, there's been more rumors about Daniel Suarez coming back to Trackhouse next year and Zilich staying down in Xfinity another year. I think that would be the best way to go about it. Because while he did win at what, I don't think this should be technically classified as an oval, but what is technically classified as an oval, it's a first good step, and I think he's going to probably win somewhere like Kansas or, if he comes back next year somewhere like Chicagoland or whatever, and it'll be a threat every time they come to the road courses. I know that, but I want to see him take that next step and be dominant at the intermediates, at the short tracks like that. And I don't think it's moving the goalposts like I was talking about earlier, in the sense of like, well, no, he has to do this or I don't see it. Like I think he can go up to the Cup Series and be a top 25 driver, right? But I think having that extra year of experience that somebody like Shane Van Gisbergen didn't get, I think that's the difference between a top 25 driver and competing points wise, Zilich, competing points wise for a playoff spot if it's the same way it is in 2027. I want to see him succeed because I think he is a great talent and somebody that can compete at some of the highest levels. You know, I don't want him to be in Cup in 2026 personally. Not at this point. Keep Suarez another year. Maybe then do a swap and have Suarez drive for JRM for a year until a good spot opens up in Cup where he can prove himself the way that like others have in the lower series, and then put Zilich up to Cup then. But I don't think he needs to come up to Cup in 2026. I think they can wait till 2027. He's what, 18 years old? Like, what's the need to rush him at this point? That's my question. Like, yeah, maybe he'll end up being like Corey Heim, where it's like it's clear he's head and shoulders above everybody else in the series. I would rather take that than rush him up, screw up his confidence, have him flounder for a year or two, and then everyone's asking the same questions they were asking about Joey Logano and asking about Kyle Larson and asking about, William Byron, for instance, as somebody else. I mean, if they moved Connor Zilich up to Cup in 2027, he would be turning, I believe, 20 years old that season. Or no, 21, I think he'd be turning that season. Something like that, 2021. Like, he'd be around that age. Like, that is not a bad age for him to be a rookie. He'd still be well ahead of the rest of the competition. Then they have that ability to do that with him. Like, they do. If they do move him up next year, I think he'll actually have some pretty good runs, but I think he'll be like a 25th place guy. I think actually he'd probably outrun Shane Van Gisbergen. But do you really want to do that when, again, is Suarez that bad of an investment? The guy you built your team around, you can do it, give him 1 year of grace, be like, hey, we're moving on from you after this year. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it. Let's just have fun, see what you can do, market yourself to a new team. Like, we see it all the time in sports. I don't see why that would be a bad deal for him. I think it'd be a great deal. All Sports All Day for the two says Kligerman might have been at Henderson's funeral. I mean, maybe. But I think it was planned in advance for him not to be in this one. Or like the back and forths, because we've seen it a few times where like McMurray will miss a race or here or there. Kligerman will miss a race. I don't want to see it anymore. I want these guys to be, I want them to be at every race like that. Okay, that I would get, right? Because it's somebody that's really big in your career, very close with stuff like that. But in general, some of the other things like, hey, I want to race over, at this race or this year. It's like, okay, but if you sign on for a full year, you need to be there for a full year, right? It's like, me, Danny, and Eric do the podcast every week. Then every now and then they'll miss, some like Eric, Eric missed this week just because things didn't line up right. Danny has some stuff coming up and there might be a time, that he might miss this summer or something, but in general, they're there every single time. And it's only very big or special occasions they miss. Like, I get it's apples to oranges, travel is different, all that, but the vein that I'm trying to get into is correct here. So I'm looking at these. Is that true? Kenny Wallace said Cleus McFarland has more natural talent than he must have been trolling. He must have been. All right, we will be live tomorrow after the NASCAR Cup Series race. Last one on Prime. So I know a lot of people will be watching the post race on there. I get that. But I'm excited. I think outside of like one of them, the Pocono races in the next gen era have actually been really decent, and I didn't get overhated. So I'm totally ready to go on it. I'm totally ready to go. No pre-race show. Next pre-race one will probably be before Chicago. The more I think about it, the Cup race, pre-race is going to be kind of for special events or like when I am able to. Post-race will always be. So don't assume I'm doing a pre-race show unless I say there is or it pops up on your sub feed. Which, by the way, subscribe if you're new. We do this after every single race. Trucks Xfinity Cup. Just saying. Who won? You're 41 minutes late, man. I can't help you on that one. So thank you guys so much for coming on in and enjoying some of your Saturday evening with me. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night, and I'll see you tomorrow. And I won't play the NWP theme to end this thing off. I think we'll just head out. So later, y'all.